Hello again. Today the presentation is a follow-up of the first presentation I did on how to write a spec application. So the topic of today is how do I test my application, because I did some code, but there were no tests at all. So just a few words before, I wrote this presentation with the support of Esteban and Pablo that cannot be there today. So the first question is, why would you need to test your GUI? Because the GUI is the primary way user interacts with your applications. So if the first feeling of your user is, this does not work, probably he will say, probably the whole application does not work, even if the backend is very well tested and works very fine. And you need to ensure functionality for the whole application. For example, you could verify that the buttons, the menus, forms, and other elements work as you expect. You also need to ensure that when a user triggers an action on the GUI, then he got the correct events and responses from this action. Having tests, it's also a good way to prevent regression, because when you have automated GUI test, you can detect if a change accidentally broke another part of the system. And it happens more often than you think. And it's a way to ensure that the look and feel and the behavior of your UI components will still continue to behave the same. So here, just some advice, good practice when doing UI testing. Very often, when you write a test, you will open some windows, at least one. So a good thing is to write a turn method that will close all open windows. Else at the end, it's a mess. So it's really easy. You need only an instance variable to keep the window. If it is not nil, you close it and you call super teardown. There is an alternative when you have many windows, sorry. What you could do is to keep a reference to your presenter. Each presenter has an application, and this application, the presenter application, knows all windows that are opened by the application. So you can just ask the presenter if it is not nil. Its application collect windows and just close everything. It's okay. So what can we test? Different kind of tests. We could test the widgets, the UI state update when there are some actions on the UI interactions between all components, and even you could test the layout of your graphical components. So now I propose you to code a bit. Test a bit. So let's take an image. Sorry. Okay, we'll do that. Is it big enough to see the code? Yes? Okay. Nice. Okay, so I still have the same first application I had. I will show you again this tutorial. presenter. So this is my application. I can edit image metadata by browsing on my file system. So I want to test this application. Okay. So what I did not say on the first presentation is that for the business code, I have an object that is called image metadata. It has a reference to the image file, as well as a dictionary that keeps all the metadata of the image. And I will show you a bit how it works. I have some accessors. I have 2 instance variables. But what is interesting is I have some methods to read the metadata. In fact, the metadata is part of the image file. So I need a tool to read this metadata. This tool is called exif tool. So I run this tool from within Faro. So to have my object image metadata, I need to run this tool. And also, when I need to update some metadata in the image, I need again to run this tool. Okay. So that is not good for testing because I will have dependencies to my system. So what I did is that I did a subclass of my image metadata just for using it for testing. And what do I do there? I just override some methods. So when I ask the file, I just send back that I cannot read the image. The file does not exist. And I override read metadata to just use a second dictionary to persist the data. And the update will just switch between the current metadata and the persisted metadata. That way, I broke the dependency to the system. Okay, so now we can start to test my application. So I have a few classes there, but it's just the small spec application to drive this talk. So here I will test widget, and first a really simple test is to test the window title. So I still have my application. So you can see there is a title there, image annotation app. Okay. And I want to test that. So what I do, I create a test class. And just notice, you are not forced to do that, but I do not inherit from a test case, but I did my own class that is a spec test with window. And it's just a teardown method to close the window. Okay, so I need to test the presenter. So let's do presenter. So what it is? Image annotation presenter. Okay, I will do window. I open the presenter, I will get back a window, and at the end I can do an assert, window title equals, for now I will just leave it empty. I declare a temporary, and I run my test. Okay, the test is not passing because I do not did not get the same title, but it is the one I want, so I update the test, proceed, okay, it's done. I just want to go back very quickly there. So it's the same test. Just to show you that you can structure a bit your test with the AAA pattern. The first A is arrange. You prepare everything for the test. Then you do the action. And at the end, you assert what you expect from it. OK, so you see, it's easy. Can I do the same to test the label of a button? I will just write a new test. So this one is inheriting from test case. So I need to create a teardown method. It will be an instance variable. So the same code that I show on the slide. And now I can write my test. So what I will do, presenter. So I will now use an image metadata presenter. I do not need anything. And I just want to assert that presenter. I need the tag1 button. I will ask its label and equals. I don't know what it is, so I will do that. So if I run the test, OK, I get expo1. It is what I expect. What you can also do during the test, you can open the presenter that you are testing to check, OK, it is this button, and the label is expo1. OK, proceed. OK, so it's really easy to test widgets. A third one, how to test the number of windows. So here, I still have my presenter on the image metadata presenter. I just put some data on it. So what it is, I have some metadata already defined for it. And now, what I will do is presenter. Let's do that. When I click on this button, no, sorry, not this one, on this one, I should have this pop-up. So here, I will get this button. So up. And I will click on it. Maybe either I could do that, or you could define a method to do the same. Click on Edit Metadata button. And at the end, we assert presenter application Windows size equals 2. OK, I can run my test. This method does not exist. I can create it. So it's edit metadata button. Click. Proceed. And now my test is green. OK. So now I will do another kind of test to test the UI state. How can I test when I click the reset button? Is disabled when there is no image description. So let's write a new test for that. So if I do that, you see this button should be disabled if I do not have the image description metadata. If I set it, it should be enabled. So self assert presenter reset image description. Let me check. No, it's not this one. I do not remember. Sorry. What is the name? Okay. I define a method to do that. When I click, no. Reset disk button disable. So I need the button directly, and I don't think it exists, but self is enabled. In fact, I want to deny that. If you have a question, you can ask. So here I will just give back the reset description button. Okay, proceed. And okay, my test is green. Now I want to test that the button is enabled when there is the image description that is set. So what I will do, I will just click on the tag button to put the content, and at the end, it's the same assertion with an assert. Is it okay? Yes. Okay. So now another kind of test, we can test interaction of components. Here I have a presenter that I did not show you. It presents here the keys of the metadata, and here you have the value, and you can change the value and click on update to do that. Okay? So I have a new test. We'll create an instance variable for it. So presenter, the list is named the key list, and I will just select the first item in the list, and then I will assert that the presenter, what is the name? Value input. Here it's the name of the input field for the value. The text equals, I don't know what. One thing that you can do is to debug your test. You instantiate the presenter. You can open it to see what happens. And you can just step. Okay, I will select the first item. It's okay. And now I want to assert that my presenter input value equals JPEG. Hop, I update my test. Okay. Oh. That is done. Oh, sorry. Hop. Okay, green. Another test. I want to test that my value is updated in the model when I click on update. So it's kind of the same test. I have my model that is there. It's just a dictionary with the metadata. I will pass it to my editor presenter. I will select a specific item, so I will do the same. Key list, select item with the key make. Then I will set the input value, so presenter value input. You just need to set the text with I forgot. I will have a temporary variable with a new value, for example, ESUG. OK. Let's put new value. And at the end, we just assert that the model with the metadata that is named make, sorry, equals my new value. Okay, so it should pass. This one is not passing. Why it is not passing? Let's check. Over. Presenter, open. Select the make item, so the value is apple. Now I set the new value. And yes, for sure, I forgot to click on update, so nothing happens. So proceed, OK, fine, the test is going. OK, so now a more tricky part, it's how do I test when I have a blocking window, a modal window. So let's go back to the image metadata presenter. So I have my presenter. I will click on preset image description, and then I assert okay, just two windows open, so I will ask my application the windows size equals 2. Okay, let's run that. Okay, I got a test failure. So I have my application. Okay. Here I see I need to use that. Let's try again. So here is my test. When I want to reset the message, I got a pop-up to confirm if I want that. And the test is blocking. Here, I got a test took too much time. So the test was blocking. So how do I test that? There is a nice addition in Spec that you can use for that. You need to use SP window force open non-modal during, and you provide it a block. Sorry. And what it will do, you will see, my test is now okay. What it will do is just, instead of opening the presenter as modal, it will open it as non-modal. So it makes my test passing. So it is nice. But it's not enough. I will show you. So that it's already done. So this one is nice. You are not blocked anymore. But very often, what you need is to do some interaction with the presenters that pop up. So how do you do that? So we have another trick for that. You can use spec window simulate open modal. And you use the message value during. And in the value block, you will get as parameter the presenter that pop-ups. And you can act on it. OK? For example, you can choose an option, click on some button, and we will do that. So here we will create a new test. So I will reset, I want to test that when I reset the image description metadata, it should remove it from the image description in the image metadata presenter. OK. Looks difficult to understand. Let's inspect that. So when I click there, and I confirm, I want to check that in this presenter, that is the table presenter, the metadata is gone. OK? So I have my presenter. So I will just assert that my presenter has a metadata presenter, if I remember. Where it is variables. Yes, I have this metadata presenter, and I defined a method there to ask my presenter the metadata that is named a string. And if I check in this presenter, I ask the table its items, and I detect if the key is found. OK? So I will use that. Presenter metadata named image description. Equals this value. So for now it's OK. Now I will click on the reset image description. And at the end, I want the data to check that the data is not found. So it's not exactly that. Should I should get a not found exception. Let's try. OK, what's that? Yes, I just forgot. It does not work. Sure. I need to use the SP window force open non-modal during that. OK. And you see here the test is failing because the confirmation presenter was pop up, but no action on it. So I need to use the third option, that is the simulate window simulate open non-modal. And sorry, what I can do there, I will get a dialog presenter and a dialog presenter. I can trigger the OK action. There is no magic. You can check the implementation of it. When you have a dialog window, if the OK action is not nil, it will be evaluated. OK. And now my test is passing. So you see, it's now possible to test spec application, widgets, interactions, and so on, even when you have modal windows. So that is all for today. Thank you very much. There is still the book that wrote Con and Stefan, and you still have the source of the project. So if you have questions about testing, do not hesitate. Thank you.
Thank you. Have you looked at all at the complications that ensue when your application does not run entirely in the UI thread?
Sorry, could you repeat? So the application does not run in the UI thread?
Right. To give you an example, I had an application that was doing, it's a GUI application, but it's doing remote procedure calls. So it gets a promise back immediately when you click the button, and then when the promise is fulfilled, there's data that comes back that needs to be displayed, and that queues events on the event queue.
Yes.
But if your test is running in the UI thread, you have an ordering problem. So at one point, back in like Pharaoh 11, I actually modified the test runner to fork all tests into a background thread, and all the tests passed. Mine had to do a little extra work, I think, but like making sure the queue was empty before checking the results, that sort of thing.
That could be a problem.
Any other question? Thank you, Christophe.